Hello again, Year 4. Welcome to our fourth session and final one for this week of our writing block based on the book The Lights on Cotton Rock. Today we are going to use the vocabulary that we created yesterday, that vault of great rich vocabulary, and we're going to use those words and phrases to help us write a really descriptive piece based around plot point 1 of the book. So, just to focus you in again, our focus for this writing was to really concentrate on what Heather could see and describe what she could see, and we decided that the focus of that was going to be the moon and the stars and the trees. We wanted to include some description about how Heather was feeling at this particular time in the plot, and also to try and use some adverbial phrases or words as well. So these are the feeling of Heather, using this sort of feelingometer, if you like, of Heather. We decided that it was a positive part of the story. It wasn't negative or scary. So we had collected our words to reflect that this was a positive part of the story, but not fantastically positive, but it was still a positive intent. So these are the words that we got for describing the moon, the stars and the trees, and you will have these in your learning pack today, so don't worry about jotting them all down really quickly. And these are the words and phrases that we had for the feeling that Heather might have, and also a collection of adverbials. And again, you might have more than this, and that's absolutely fine to use your word choices and your word collections that you got yesterday. So we are going to go now, and I am going to show you, I'm going to model how I'm going to use all of my words and phrases that I collected yesterday: the moon, the stars, the trees, what Heather could see. I'm going to try and include how Heather was feeling, and I'm going to try and include some adverbials to link all my writing together and to give extra descriptions. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. Right, so this is our go. This is my go at showing you how I will use all those words and phrases that we collected yesterday to write a paragraph of descriptive writing about plot point 1 as Heather is going into the forest. I've got Tom, my technical IT support here, who's telling me if I go on a little bit. So,
hi.
Hello, he says hello. So he's here to make sure I keep to time. So I'm going to start. I'm thinking about what I can see, what Heather could see, how she might feel, and using some time adverbials. And you can see behind me, I've got all those words that I used yesterday. So I can say, if you suddenly see me peering behind the board, it's because I'm trying to grab some words that I had yesterday. And when you are writing, you will have your words with you as well, hopefully. So I'm going to start with an adverbial phrase, and I'm going to try and get the reader to understand how Heather was feeling as she's tiptoeing away from the house in the middle of the night, because most people might think that she was a bit frightened if she's going to the forest in the middle of the night, but I want to know, or tell my readers, the intent is not negative, it's a positive intent. So I'm going to start with without fear, comma, because it's telling me how something's done. It's at the beginning of a sentence, so it's a fronted adverbial phrase, so I need to put those commas there. So without fear, Heather, and I'm going to use the word tiptoed. In the book it said snuck, same kind of thing. She was doing something that she shouldn't have been doing. She doesn't want to get caught, so I've tried to keep that intent there. So without fear, Heather tiptoed away from the house towards the shady forest, or shadowy. Right, and I'm going to read that back. Every sentence that I write, I'm going to try and read back. A, to check for a sense and to see if I could improve it along the way. So without fear, comma, Heather tiptoed away from the house towards the shadowy forest. I could actually put something there, couldn't I? Away from the something house, the small house, cosy house. I could perhaps think about that in a moment when I come back in my editing session. So I'm now going to think about the moon. So I'm going to think about what I had for the moon to help me describe. And I'm having to hold this flip chart up because it keeps falling down, which is a little bit annoying. So I'm going to say through the gap in the trees. Where was the moon? Through the gap in the trees. And again, that's saying where something happened, so it's one of these adverbial phrases. And because it's at the front of the sentence, it's a fronted adverbial, so I need a comma. Through the gap in the trees, the solitary moon. I want the moon to be on its own. The solitary moon, what was it doing? I'm going to look at one of my words. Oh, I had illuminating. I quite like that. Lighting up. It was lighting up the path. So through the gap in the trees, the solitary moon illuminated. Let's have a think. Illuminated the path. The path ahead. There we go. Let's have a look. Through the gap in the trees, comma, the solitary moon illuminated the path ahead. Oh, I might add a little bit of there because I like the creamy warm light. How can I use that? Oh yeah, bathing. That's like washing. So bathing the ground in a soft, comma, let's have a look, creamy glow. Glow or light? I'm not going to put glow, I'm going to put light. Full stop. Let's see if I like that. Through the gap in the trees, comma, the solitary moon illuminated the path ahead, bathing the ground in a soft, creamy light. Now I'm going to think about the trees. I'm looking at my trees. What did I have? I quite like the regimented in those rows because it's like firs planted in rows. I'm going to have that. I'm going to spell regimented right today. It's regamented. I learnt that yesterday. In a soft, creamy light. Let's have a look. The trees that stood in regimented rows. So I'm trying to get the reader to think or picture that this was not a hodgepodge of a forest, that it was kind of lines of trees. And I'm going to expand this idea of the regimented here. The trees that stood in regimented rows were perfectly still. Full stop. Okay, let's have a look. What else could the trees be doing? I'm thinking, so that I want to give them the idea that they are tall. I had, but not using tall because we don't want that. I could have towering. I quite like that. The towering trees. What were they doing? I might put tall. Oh, I could link to stars from the trees by reaching them to the sky or reaching them up towards the stars. So the towering trees reached up to the, I don't want night sky, heavens. The heavens. That kind of links me, I'm just going to move that up again, that links me through to talking about the stars. Where are the stars? I'm going to try and think of this adverbial phrase again. Where are they? I'm going to have them in the midnight sky. I'm not going to have heavens again. So where were the stars? In the midnight sky. So it's an adverbial phrase at the beginning of a sentence, so I need that comma afterwards. The midnight sky. In the midnight sky, sorry. What about stars? What did I have? Distant stars. Yeah. Distant stars. What were they doing? I've got sparkled, glinted. I quite like using the idea of the simile, so I might use sparkled like silver sequins. I'll spell that right today as well. Sequins. Okay, I'm going to finish it off now with what Heather is feeling. So I want to get that feeling back into it, and I want Heather, she's keen, she's eager to find out what's up there in the stars. So I might have Heather was keen. Oh, I'm going to put eager to find what lived with them, among them. Let's have a look. So, how have I got on? Remember, have I described the sights? Have I included some feelings? Have I included an adverbial? Let's have a think, let's have a read. Without fear, Heather tiptoed away from the house towards the shadowy forest. Through the gap in the trees, the solitary moon illuminated the path ahead, bathing the ground in soft, creamy light. The trees that stood in regimented rows were perfectly still. The towering trees reached up to the heavens. In the midnight sky, distant stars sparkled like silvery sequins. Heather was eager to find what lived among them. There's one sentence I'm not really very happy about. So I had the towering trees reached up. I've already talked about the trees here. So instead of having trees, I think yesterday, I used the word firs, because I'm just using the explicit noun there instead of the general trees, the firs. So the towering firs reached up to the heavens. That saves me having to repeat that trees there, I think. Right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check mine. I might even think about what I could put a little adjective to describe the house. I think I've only used not very many sentences, so 1, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, no more than 6 sentences, so you could do the same. Right, I can't wait to read some of your descriptive sentences too. Good luck, Year 4.